like it's getting this a bit of a regular thing now, isn't it? Myself and speaking to you, Mr. Sauerland. It was like a couple of weeks ago at the Misfits.
Yeah, we've seen each other a lot recently, haven't we? Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a busy few weeks. We've had back-to-back shows, Frankfurt at the weekend, obviously our press conference here today, roll on to Texas in a couple of weeks, then we've got 4 events in the UK in I think, is it 11 days or 12 days? It's crazy stuff, so yeah, but can't complain.
Crazy and busy stuff. I'm not going to bore you to death by asking you any questions about the Conor Ben scenario because I'm sure you've been talked at about that.
I'm happy to take a quick look at that. I mean, I'll just give you an update that we know nothing more other than there's an ongoing investigation into it. Yeah. That won't hold up our side of the train though, but we'll be looking on with very interested eyes, as we all are.
Interested eyes, to be fair, what's going to happen? When is Chris Eubank Jr. going to be out again? Because that's a fight. We'd like to see him out. It's
in a way somehow linked, I guess, but not. But at the same time, not linked if it takes too long. So it's we have a cut-off point, and that's something that we are discussing with Junior. What's the best? My main objective is that we don't lose track of what our objective was before we went into the Ben fight or the planned Ben fight, and that's for our big events that we plan for next year. So to try and balance that out. At the same time, Junior needs to get out, so that's something that we work on.
And we talk about working on that and Junior possibly getting out. Say that obviously the Ben scenario gets put to one side, for a better word. Can we expect to see Eubank Jr. fighting Triple G, the name that he so often speaks about?
Yeah, that's one that I think is an obvious one. I totally agree. I'd love to see it. I think a lot of people would love to see it. At the same time, it's a big fight. That's not going to suddenly drop on our laps this year. So we have to look at. We want to get him out. We need to, at the same time, see what the other situation developing. At the same time, we want to sort the Triple G fight out. And so it's a combination of getting that right blend. But we're almost there, and we're in a good place.
And we talk about the card. Then we've seen a lot of the fighters that were initially out are now being put on to new cards. We've got the York Hall show that's coming up. Before we touch on this fight, I want to touch on the York Hall card because we've got Chloe Watson out, we've got Harlem out. It's just nice to see the fighters back out.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the show on Channel 5 from the York Hall, that was planned long before. This wasn't like we put the undercard out now. No, Harlem was going to do a 6-rounder on his cousin's card. It meant a lot to him. So we'd already had the announcement ready for the Tom Farrell fight. It's a live fight. But most importantly, I'm very proud that it's his first headlining night on Channel 5. And if there's anyone who deserves it, it's Harlem Eubank. And he's got a tough fight that night, but he wants that. Tom Farrell, very live opponent, going to be a real domestic bust-up. Liam Williams returning on that night, Lucy Wildart, and of course, Liverpool's princess, Chloe Watson, with her travelling army of fans. I remember the last time they were down in London, they were very raucous, so we're looking forward to a great night. Friday, the 25th of November, so a banging Friday night in the East End of London. Lovely.
And it is lovely, actually, because we've got a series of fights happening that weekend, so it kind of like slots in. We've got the Friday, the Saturday and the Sunday.
We go literally straight from. We'll have the weigh-in for the Gorman fight, that Gorman Wardley, on the day of Harlem's fight. So it's going to be logistically interesting. The good thing is that they're all within. I'm not going to say walking distance, but it's reachable. So yeah, it's busy. And the week after, so we've got Gorman Wardley British Championship on the Saturday, and then the following Friday we're up here for the big one in the Northeast. Also live on Channel 5 with Williamson versus Kelly, of course. So very excited about that one as well.
How has the partnership been going with Wasserman and Channel 5 to, get these regular cards out? How is that working as Channel 5 is your main broadcaster and bringing those Friday fight nights back to our viewers?
Yeah, I mean, we've also done Saturday ones this year, and the numbers are fantastic. You're seeing a nice development that the people are starting to get used to the faces that we're bringing onto Channel 5. We just introduced Lyndon Arthur, obviously. He's going to be out as well before the end of the year. Then you've also got, you know, Nathan Gorman, who's not boxing on Channel 5, but when he wins that belt, will be back on Channel 5. And you've got Harlem Eubank obviously progressing through, and you know, from sort of as a co-feature, now headlining his first card. Josh Kelly, massive fight for him on Channel 5. So you see that how the project has developed over the year, and we're very proud of that. And you know, massive thanks to the people at Channel 5 as well. Cash Sahal, very, very, very important partner we have there, and they're so into their boxing, and they're knowledgeable about it as well, which helps, because you've got to understand, to bring a Kelly or a Gorman back into boxing, and two guys who've performed on two other big platforms in British boxing, you can't just do that overnight. And you know, we had to be very careful on how to do it, but I think we've got to give us a 9 out of 10 on how we've done it, but 10 out of 10 for the right final result with the list of the fights coming up to the end of the year.
What I will say at the top table with the presser earlier, one thing I did like is the fact of how you came to, I'm going to call it the rescue of Josh Kelly. How you put out the fact that he was built up like a rocket almost, and then when he lost that fight, it was sort of like a tumble down for him, and it's about naturally building a fighter and putting them where they need to be, and putting them in the situations, the fights that they need to be, and building them properly.
It's a brutal world, yeah, and it's a brutal world not just in terms of boxing, but in, you know, social media and what have you, and you know, Sky really built him. And by the way, this is not criticism to Sky, but it's almost a compliment to Sky, because they look to build their sports on their networks the best way possible, and they did a fantastic job with Josh. The problem was that it didn't match, let's say, the sporting curve of the career, and you know, that's definitely not the broadcaster's fault. It's not Josh's fault. He just sometimes doesn't marry up that way. I thought much more shocking was almost the social media reaction to Josh afterwards. It was like the world had ended. It was the apocalypse, and I was just looking from the outside at the time and thinking, hold on, you know, it's been built up as the best thing since sliced bread, and now, I mean, it wasn't like he was blown out the ring either. You know, it's not Evan Izzy fighting Terence Crawford now. So, you know, it was just bizarre, but it's quite a good example of how we can build up people in our world, and not just in boxing, and take them so quickly up, so quickly down again. And hey, guess what? December the 2nd, he's back and closing that chapter.
We like that, and I'm speaking to Adam Booth as well. You know, I spoke about, obviously he's going for the British Super Welterweight British title, which is, you know, a divine title in its own right. And I spoke about, you know, Josh saying that he wants to push for world titles. No disrespect to the British belt, of course, but he wants to go for world titles. And one of the key things that Adam said, well, he's got to prove he's ready for that. Yeah. That kind of like, yeah, we know that you want to do that. We know that you'd fight anybody. But you've got to prove that by getting through Troy. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you can't disagree with it. It's a very good analysis. I would say, just one more thing though, the British title, I think we've done 5 of them this year. Udofia versus Bentley.
Yes, of course. Don't forget.
You know, it was a great fight. I think we've done a total of 5 British titles this year.
Including Fabio.
Yeah, with Gorman as well, with the one in Bolton as well. There was, you know, so we've done 5 British titles this year. We love them because we know what we're getting in them, because they've all been and will be great fights. So it's very easy on the matchmaking side. It's a very pure belt in terms of, you know what it is. What I would add is, it is sort of like a eliminator, without calling it eliminator, because it's that fight for your right sort of fight, isn't it? Yeah.
I'll take that. I'm going to ask you on Gorman and Wardley, because I've got to wrap this up. Gorman is your fighter, a fighter that you've took great faith in. I was there when he was signed, along with the other Wasserman fighters, at the launch that he had probably just over a year ago. And now he's going into a title fight. How do you see this fight with him and, you know, the really keen knockout concussive puncher, Fabio Wardley?
I would say that, you know, anyone at heavyweight is a concussive knockout puncher simply through the weight alone. I would say Gorman's story is amazing, and this is an amazing end to the year for him. A very difficult year after a couple of difficult years. Sorry, too much talking. And this is, I just know it's going to be his night, and he's got these amazing stories, generation after generation of Gormans, and you know, it's going to be a special night, November 26th.
It definitely will be. I'm going to let you have your water and your drink. Listen, it's always a pleasure. No doubt we'll catch up again soon. Thank you so much for your time. October Red Boxing with the lovely Kalle Sauerland.
Thank you very much.
Hi, and thank you for watching October Red Boxing. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. You can also find us on Instagram at October Red Boxing and on Twitter, October Red UK. And remember, at October Red, we stay ready.